Hello, everybody. This is Nikki from Motherhood Unfiltered. It's going to be okay. And today I have Magic Barclay on as a guest. Been a single mother of two for the past 10 years. And in that time, stress and the roller coaster of life has seen her face her mortality a number of times. She's a cancer, Lyme disease, stroke, diabetic, heart attack, and hypoxia survivor. So this is going to be a good conversation. And she is a mold toxicity master practitioner and an expert in the PNEI, which is a psycho neuro endo immunology of trauma, and an advanced immune practitioner and an advanced practitioner in innate immunity and functional health solutions. And the list goes on. So but before I bring her on, because I'm really excited to talk to her, I know when we first talked, we really connected and we had such a great conversation. I enjoyed it so much. Um, so, but before I bring her on, I just want to say if you are watching this on YouTube, to comment, like, and subscribe. If you are listening to this on the podcast, please go to iTunes or Apple iTunes or Spotify and rate and review the episode or the podcast. That lets me know how well I'm doing. So, without further ado, I am going to bring Magic on. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Well, I'm so glad that you did decide to interview with me, especially since it's so early where you are at the moment. So tell us about um, yourself and where you're from and how you got started or how you started your Magical Life health, wealth, and weight loss program.
Sure. Well, I'm just outside Melbourne in Australia, and yes, it is a bit early, but that's okay. Here we are. So, excuse the lack of makeup going on. It's just, yeah, get me a la natural this morning.
Oh, you're
So,
fine.
how did I get into my podcast and my business? Well, first of all, my podcast, I'd been through so much myself, and I thought, surely I'm not the only one. And, the few questions that I have about life, about health, about wealth, about weight loss, I'm sure other people are asking. So I actually love asking multiple guests the same three questions. And everyone gives me such different answers. It's amazing. And not only helps me, but helps the listeners out there who might be like me. So
Hmm.
that's how I got into that one. But how I got into the business of Holistic Natural Health Australia is through my own health journey. And again, wondering why I wasn't getting the right answers, wondering why I felt dismissed and
Yeah,
misled and unheard by mainstream medicine, to
right.
the point where I had to face my mortality several times. I
Hmm.
can laugh about it now because honestly, it's just like some really awful comedy. When you go to a doctor and they tell you you're making it up, and then you go to another doctor several years later and they tell you that you've got a year to live because you didn't address this for years. So, you have to laugh or you'll cry, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally have, or I have been there where I keep telling my doctor, okay, I feel so tired. And he will say, well, the test results say that that your numbers are fine. I'm like, well, then something's not right because I'm still feeling like, extremely fatigued. And so that goes to having an autoimmune disorder. So tell us about the, so I know you have an autoimmune disorder, but tell us about how you got, or how did you find the, the product that you use to help you?
Sure. Well, before I do that, let me address when your test numbers are fine, because this is a really important point to make.
Yeah.
Mainstream medicine say something is idiopathic. Now, the definition of idiopathic is of no known cause. So, in other words, when they say you have idiopathic autoimmune or idiopathic whatever, they're saying we don't know where it came from. And your test numbers are normal because, particularly blood tests, they're just a snapshot in time. So
Yeah.
they're whatever is coursing through the blood past the needle point at that millisecond that the needle is drawing the blood. That's not a true representation of what's actually going on in the body. It's just what's
Oh.
happening right then. So when they say your numbers are fine, you're fine. No, not necessarily. And, that's when they'll say, look, it's idiopathic. In other words, you're making it up
Mhm.
and we don't know where it came from. And so
Mhm.
this is something that a lot of doctors, and I'm not saying all doctors, but a lot
Mhm.
of doctors rely on this word idiopathic. So as soon as you hear that, you've got to go, no, 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 no. Take me
Mhm.
seriously. Something is wrong.
Yeah. So, I mean, so if that's the case, like in that moment of time when they draw the blood, is that something that you should say, well, I need you to do it again, or we need to do this more often?
Yeah, look, you probably don't need to do it again, but
Mhm.
just understand that yes, the blood test is a great indicator, but it's not the whole story. So as long as you take it with a grain of salt,
Mhm.
so to speak, just go, well, that's what was happening right then, but it does indicate something.
Mhm.
But blood tests and urine tests and whatever tests that you're doing can come within normal ranges. And this is another problem with testing, and that
Mhm.
is the fact that an integrative pathologist or a mainstream pathologist, or even two separate mainstream pathologists, will have different reference ranges. So what looks okay within range for one testing company for another might not be within range. So
Um,
just really important, again, just use these tests as an indicator. They are not a tool for diagnosis. They are
yeah.
just to give the practitioner an idea of where things are headed.
That's a good point to make. I mean, even though your doctor may be a general practitioner, that doesn't mean that he specializes in that disorder, that you may have, or whatever it is that you're feeling or what's happening with you. So, um, so that reminds me that you have a program that is a very you go through a questionnaire type thing, and it asks you all kinds of questions about how you are and you operates. How does that work? What does that determine?
Yeah, so we have our root cause analysis, and this is complementary to anyone.
Hmm.
And I think when you and I last spoke, it was 17 pages. Well, it's grown now, it's now 33 pages. So, my clients say, I sent you my thesis. Yep, thanks for that. And that's not including previous test results they may have. So that's added
Yeah.
on. So what we're
Yeah.
covering is some of the major systems of the body. So we're looking at the immune system,
Hmm.
the reproductive system, the
Hmm.
endocrine system. We're looking at the digestive system. We're looking at a lot of these big systems of the body and asking
Hmm.
some questions that maybe you haven't been asked before. Maybe
Right.
you have, and the answers have changed. And we're
Right.
looking at those answers and really getting the historical information that we need. Now, following that, we have an ACEs questionnaire. So that this is all part of this root cause analysis form.
Hmm.
And that tells us any adverse childhood experiences obviously from your childhood. And
Yeah.
that's important too, because an ACEs score tells us if there's likely to be limbic system involvement in what we're dealing with the client. And then we also now have a neurotransmitter questionnaire, which has 8 different sections which tell us which major neurotransmitters or neurotransmitter pathways might be affected by what you've been dealing with. And that's important because we know that mental health can be affected by gut health, for example, just one of the indicators.
Yeah.
So, we'll ask you the same questions in different ways, and that information then helps us form where your protocol will need to go. There is no one size fits all protocol. We do have the same package that we offer in different amounts of sessions to people, but the protocol in that package will be individual, and it will really rely on what we find in that root cause analysis.
Wow. So much of that makes sense to me because like the mental health and the gut health. I mean, when I'm sad and depressed, the first thing I start doing is just eating all processed foods that is totally not good, you know. And and then I sit here and watch my stomach just swell up, because it's like stop. You're it tastes good, but you're killing me.
Exactly. So I used to eat potato chips. I used to just love the saltiness of potato chips. It
Yeah.
wasn't about the potato chip. If someone had given me a block of salt, I probably would have just sucked on that. And why? Because I was under such high stress at the time
Yeah.
that my adrenals were going so fast.
Mhm.
And one of the hormones involved in the adrenals working is called aldosterone. And
Mhm.
when your aldosterone is low, that looks like salt cravings. So for me, my need to eat potato chips when I was under all this stress was the fact that my aldosterone was too low.
Oh my
Wasn't the fact that
gosh.
I actually wanted the potato chips. So, again, our mental health and our dietary cravings can really indicate where the problem is. And,
Oh.
no whisper needs to be silenced. You really need to listen to it because it's going to tell you
Mhm.
what's going on somewhere else. So, we dismiss these cravings, we dismiss our need for chocolate or chips or alcohol, and we really don't look at what that's actually telling us.
Oh my gosh, Magic. I mean, that would explain, I guess, instead of thinking about, oh, I have no self control, I need to stop eating the Swiss cake rolls, Little Debbie's Swiss cake rolls, right? And instead, try and find out what's in this that's making me, you know, or what is happening in my body that thinks that I need to have that.
Totally. And when we're going for those Swiss cake rolls, or in my case, potato chips,
Yeah.
we beat ourselves up about it and we say, I am so addicted to this. Like
Yeah.
you're making that happen by saying you're addicted. Not that you're
Yeah.
making it happen. That sounds like you're asking for it, but no, you're not. But you are making this part of your languaging.
Yeah.
I am addicted to this. I need to eat this. I can't stop eating this. But
Yeah.
you're not saying, what are you telling me? And
Right.
this is what we really need to do because, above all else, our bodies actually want us to be alive. I know it doesn't feel like that sometimes, especially when you have autoimmune, but
Yeah.
they actually do. And the things that happen in the body are to keep you alive. It may not be pleasant because, pleasant isn't part of keeping you
Mm-mm.
alive. It's about freeing you from the immediate danger.
Mhm.
And whatever happens down the road happens down the road, but right now you're alive. So, we really do have to say, as we're picking up the Swiss cake roll, what is this telling me? Why do I
I
feel
know.
the urge to eat this? What's going on?
Yeah, that's
Sometimes it's just you want the Swiss cake roll, have at it, but have
yeah.
one. If it's
Oh,
more
I
than
know.
one, ask why.
Well, that's a good point, and definitely something that we need to, I guess, slow down and pay attention and be more intentional about what we're doing so that we can think about, you know, why we're doing this, and that would be something that, you could talk to your practitioner about, or they could talk to you about that.
Totally.
What is like, what is in the product that you use, that helps, um, that will help you feel better?
Yeah, well, look, we use some supplementation. We do. We use practitioner only supplements, but we also use a whole range of techniques. Now, we'll get to this in a minute, but we use some PNEI techniques. We use the functional health solutions techniques and innate immunity techniques. We use some essential oils. We love using essential oils because, I mean, there's just
I
so much
love them too.
goodness, so much goodness. But there's a number of things that we do, and this is all part of your package when you start working with us, that we select the best things for you. So we're not going to just sell you, 2 shopping bags of supplements. No. What we're
Right.
going to do is hand select some supplements for you. So no matter where you are in the world, you will actually get a welcome pack in the mail, a little box, maybe not so little, pretty big box actually, full of some stuff that we need for you to take along your journey. And so there might be some dietary changes for a little while. And so that will be in the box. There'll be some supplementation for a little while. That will be in the box. We don't want you on supplements forever. We just want you to kickstart the body back into what it needs to do. And then, along the way, we have Zoom calls and we do the techniques with you guys. And so everything is individualized to what you're dealing with.
Well, I like that, and so I take it that people have already tried this because you've had your business for a long time now, and so what is like the number one thing that people notice, after being on the program, for what is it, a month at least?
Yeah, so I actually spoke to a lady this week and she's been on her program for 3 weeks. And prior to starting the program, she felt like crap. I'm just going to say it like that because nothing was working mentally, physically, emotionally, like
Right.
everything just was crap. And I actually hadn't heard from her and I thought, well, I better touch base, see if she needs an appointment.
Right.
So, yep, she had her appointment this week. And I said, listen, what's going on? I haven't heard from you. She goes, I feel so good. 3 weeks
Wow.
in, she goes, sorry, it's graphic. I'm pooping really well. I'm eating really well. My weight's dropping. I've got such energy. There's just a couple of things mentally I can't get around. So I said, okay, we'll do some PNEI work in this session. We did that. By the end of it, she was ready to go and conquer the things that had been staring her down in her life.
Yeah.
And this is only her second appointment. So she is
Wow.
on a package of 8 appointments. She said,
Yeah.
what on earth are we going to do for the next 6? And I said, we're going to make sure this stays right. That's what we're going to do. She goes, I've only just started and my life's changed.
Yeah.
I love success stories like that because she's done the work. I've been her guide along the way, but she's done the work.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned her pooping thing because nobody wants to talk about that, but so many of us suffer from constipation or irritable bowel syndrome, and we all know that's affected by, first of all, poor eating habits, but also from stress, and myself included, and my sisters all suffer from, and my mother suffered from some form of irritable bowel syndrome, and it's just like, no, I don't know. It just seems like we need to pay attention to this.
We do. So IBS is one of those things. There's so many types of IBS. And the reason is because they're often stirred by pathogens. And some of these pathogens are hereditary. So if your mum has this pathogen, for example, when you're born, guess what? You're likely to have it. So sorry to break that to you, but this is what we do. We go after these pathogens and we help you do this. so
Yeah.
that you can send an email. We love emails with, I got to poop today and it felt great. You know,
Yeah.
if you can't share that with your practitioner, there's something wrong.
I know, right? I mean, when anytime my boys would say, "Mom, my stomach hurts," I'm like, "Well, when was the last time you had a bowel movement?" And they're like, "Why is that the first thing you ask?" Because that is usually the problem.
Well, I've raised my two boys to know they can talk to me about what the poo looks like, because there's the Bristol stool chart, and there's
Mhm.
several types of presentation of your poop, and
Mhm.
that tells you a lot about your body. So, my boys they're 20 and 23 now, and they still live
Mhm.
with me. They'll come out of the bathroom and they'll go, "It's all right, Mum. It's a nice smooth log, no cracks in it. It's all good." And I'm like, "Yep, great."
That's
But it is important
hilarious.
information.
Well, it's true. I mean, we do need to pay attention to that stuff. And I know it stinks, or whatever, or is the taboo subject, but yeah, it needs addressed.
It's so important.
So, what is a PNEI of trauma? So, explain that to me.
All right.
Um,
So PNEI is psychoneuroendoimmunology, and trauma that we have in our childhood or trauma that we're facing today, can be acute or chronic, has lasting effects on our body. And
mhm,
there's 4 systems in particular that work together. So
mhm,
the P is the psycho. It's the thing that you feel or think after something has happened.
mhm,
And these thoughts and feelings can be seen by the body as pathogenic. So they can be dangerous, and
mhm,
that's that negative thought or that I'm not good enough thought, something like that. It's going to keep harming you.
mhm,
So your limbic brain, so the central part of your brain, which creates these thoughts and feelings, will send messages to the nervous system. Right?
mhm,
So the nervous system connects to the base of the brain, and it says, "Do you know what? There's something not safe here." So the nervous system picks that up and says, "Do you know what? Now you're going to feel some pain, or I'm going to conduct some messages through the rest of the nervous system, and you're going to maybe not be able to feel your fingers, and you'll get numbness and tingling." Just an
mhm.
example, it does so much more.
Right.
Or it ramps up the stress response so that you go into the fight, flight, freeze, fade mode with your adrenals,
Oh,
because your
mhm.
nervous system sends the message through
Right.
because you thought something. Now, when the nervous system does all these things, right, your endocrine system jumps in to back it up. So your hormones change. So you could be, low on estrogen or low on testosterone, or in my
Mhm,
case, I was low on aldosterone. So I needed to eat salty things because this threat message is coming through. Started as a thought or feeling, became a nervous system response. Now it's become a hormonal response. Now, all of this signals to the immune system, the big dog on the block. It says, "You are in danger right now. Do
oh,
something."
Lord. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
abort mission now. So all of this is happening. So all of a sudden you feel fluey, maybe head cold, maybe it's something worse. Maybe some viral outbreak happens. You get cold sores on your lip or something. This is
Mhm.
all because the P and the N and the E have gone, like danger, danger, do
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
So the immune system says, "I need to keep you safe. Here we go. Here's what I'm doing." An immune response. And when these immune responses are set for long enough, they
Uh-huh.
can become an autoimmune. And an autoimmune is not your body attacking you. That is what some doctors say.
Yeah.
And it makes me giggle, but it also makes me cry, because no, your body is not attacking you.
Mhm,
Your immune system is seeking to find whether it's an undigested protein or a pathogen or something that doesn't look right, and it's
mhm,
going after that. And there are different types of immune types. Some are catabolic, they break things down, and unfortunately, if they
mhm,
can't find what they're looking for, they can break you down. So it's not attacking you, it's doing something to help you, but it could be getting stuck in a certain response. So that's how the PNEI works. And trauma is one of those things that triggers this response.
Oh my gosh. That is like a buttload of therapy needed
Yeah.
for someone, which is why you would need to do the root analysis where,
Yeah.
it went from 17 pages to 33 pages because
Yeah. We
it,
need to know.
it would take all of those questions to figure out this person's got some serious stuff going on.
Yeah. So our practitioners are your health detectives. We're the sleuths, the private eye with the magnifying glass, and we're
Yeah.
looking for what is going on that's hidden. And so,
Wow.
when we're not the GP that has 15 minutes to see you and ask you, how are you feeling today? What are you here for? Cough, sneeze, whatever, open your mouth, say, we're not doing that. Okay. What we're doing is we're looking at the whole history of the client. So we're looking for a timeline from the moment they were born to what's happening today. And we're looking for these things that are telling us, what are you dealing with? We're not just
Yeah.
going to give you a medication that band-aids the situation. We're actually
Right.
looking for what is it that's causing all of this.
Oh my Lord. It might take more than 33 pages for all the stuff I have to unload.
And you know what? If it takes more than that, then it takes more than that. It is what it is.
I know. I just think of like all the things. I know that some of the stuff that I struggle with is because of things that have happened growing up or as a young adult or when I was first married, and it's just it just accumulates. It's like a snowball, it just gets bigger and bigger. And at this point, I'm like, I don't know what the heck to do, you know?
And that's the thing. Something can happen when we're 3, and then something
Mhm.
can happen when we're, 14, and something can
Yeah.
happen when we're 25 and whatever.
Mhm.
And it does. It becomes the little snowflake turns into a snowball,
Yeah.
turns into this massive snow, turns into an
Molder.
earthquake.
Yeah.
And then, you're 50 and you're like, what the heck happened?
Right. I mean, I'm thinking back to my very first memory of, something bad happening. And I did not know how to vocalize that, I mean, I was 4. It was awful, but it was just something, your and I know that your mind will try to push the memory, back so you don't have to think about it, or you don't have to deal with it. And sometimes that's just not good. You need to take care of it.
Exactly,
So
and especially for people our age, and I'm
yeah,
saying, the late 40s to early
right,
60s,
right.
we were brought up to don't vocalize, don't
Mhm.
cry. I know here in Australia, and my father said it all the time. If I
Yep.
was crying as a kid, he'd say, "Stop crying now, or I'll give you something to cry about."
Oh my gosh. My mom
And
used to
it's
say
like,
that all the time.
I know that was this age group, our age group. And that's kind of how things went. It was like,
Yeah.
suck it up, princess, move
Yeah.
on. But
Yeah.
these problems, these thoughts, the P part of that PNEI doesn't go away. It
Yeah.
just buries deep in the caverns of our mind, and it
Yeah.
keeps injuring us. And so, I'm 50 this year, and I've
Mhm.
been working on things that happened when I was 3.
Yeah.
Because for
Yeah.
47 years, this thing's just been like whacking me constantly in my brain,
It's like
making me
it's
do other things. Yeah.
yeah.
So, we're of that age group.
Yeah.
And, particularly women, we've maybe just found our independence. Maybe we've had a bit of
Mhm.
a change in our life, a divorce or new
Mhm.
husband, or,
Mhm.
found out that we're not into men anymore, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And, so we've had some massive life changes. Kids are
Right.
growing up, they're leaving us. We're not mothers all the time anymore.
I know.
So we're having these changes, and so these thoughts that happened when we were children, that we were told, do you know what, bury that, we don't talk
Yeah.
about that, we're not dealing with that, if you don't
Yeah.
stop crying, we'll give you something to cry about. All this
Yeah.
stuff is jumping up at us now. And
Yeah.
so we're seeing a very injured population, particularly of women. Men too, I'm not discounting them at all,
Right.
but particularly women, because
Mhm.
our roles in life are changing. We're hitting menopause, and it's like, well, I didn't feel great then, and now this has happened. Holy heck! Now what's happening? So there's a
I
lot going
know.
on that we need to address.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the whole menopause thing it's a nightmare. I
It's
mean,
a roller coaster.
what's up with these night sweats? I go to bed smelling like a flower and I wake up smelling like a boar, Like, how did this?
Well, what's up with these night sweats is usually low estrogen. So, here comes that that endocrine jumping in, and it's trying to keep you safe. Not fun, but, there's things that we can do
Yeah,
to rebalance our bodies. But I guess the first thing we have to say is it's not our fault. We never asked for this
yeah,
to happen, but we do need to address why it's happening. But
right.
remember, above all else, it's not your fault. It's not idiopathic. It's not made up, and it's not of no known cause. There's
Yeah.
actually things going on.
So, so Magic, I know you have your own podcast and it's called A Magical Life, Health, Wealth, and Weight Loss. But how can we reach out to you if we want to know more about how to maybe start, you know, trying to figure out what the heck's the matter with this?
Well, you can visit our website. So that's www.holisticnaturalhealth.com.au. And that's holistic with a W, because we treat with holism. We don't look at one particular thing, we look at everything.
Right.
And there you can find the root cause analysis. You can book that there, or you can
Uh-huh.
request to book one there. And so what we'll do is, when we see that pop up on our calendar or in our email system, we will
Uh-huh.
send you the form. And so we work all around the world via Zoom. So we can work with you if you're in Antarctica. We can work with you if you're in England or the USA, or even here in our own home of
Yeah.
Australia. We can work with you. So the root cause analysis is complimentary. When we see that booking come through, we send
Uh-huh.
you the 33-page intake. Hopefully it's only 33 pages and I haven't added some more crazy stuff to it, but I can't promise that. But yeah, we give you that form and you will get instructions from me
Yeah.
that say something like, please fill in this form, make a cup of tea, take your time, put it down for 2 days and come back to it, because there's going to be a whole lot of stuff you just remembered.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
important. Okay. So once you send that back to us, then we can do your Zoom call and we tell you our findings. So we educate you in the root cause analysis
uh-huh.
appointment as to what we found, how it's happening, the science behind it. Don't worry, we don't
Mhm.
get too sciencey. I draw chicken scratch diagrams for you, and then you'll go, why aren't you a doctor? You write just like one. So yeah, we will do that, and then we may offer to work with you, but we may
Mhm.
not. We may send you to someone who you need. At the time, it might be, a
Mhm.
cranial sacral therapist, or it might be someone
Mhm.
else in our network, or we might find someone for you in your area.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're ethical and sustainable above all else. So
Mhm.
the sustainable comes in our programs. It's something that you're doing that you can keep doing. You don't need us forever. And we're
Right.
ethical. If we can't work with you, we're going to tell you. Simple as
Well,
that.
well, I like that. It's not something, like a gimmick or whatever. I mean, you're actually this is what we can do. However, you know, you need more than what we can offer. So, but let's find you the help someone that can help you. So I really like that. I've enjoyed talking with you and getting to know you more. And I hope that you'll be able to come back in the future for another conversation.
I would love to. It's been an absolute hoot. I love it.
Maybe next time I could be the one that gets up early and you could be at your regular time.
Sounds good to me.